जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। नाम श्रेष्ठं मनुमपि शचीपुत्रमत्र स्वरूपं रूपं तस्याग्रजमुरुपुरीं माथुरीं गोष्ठवाटिं राधाकुण्डं गिरिवरमहो राधिका माधवाशां प्राप्तो यस्य प्रथितकृपया श्रीगुरुं तं नतोऽस्मि। हे गुरो ज्ञानदा दीनबन्धो स्वानन्ददाता करुणैकसिन्धो वृंदावनासीन हितावतार प्रसीद राधा प्रणय प्रचार त्वं गोपिका वृषरवेस्तनयान्ति केसि सेवाधिकारिणे गुरो निजपाद पद्मे दास्यं प्रदाय कुरु मां व्रजकानने श्री राधाङ्घ्रिसेवनरसे सुखिनीं सुखब्धो मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद आजानुलंबित भुजौ कनकावदातौ संकीर्तनैक पितरौ कमलायताक्षौ विश्वम्भरौ द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालौ वंदे जगत्प्रियकरौ करुणावतारौ राधे वृंदावनाधीशे करुणा अमृतवाहिनी कृपया तव पादाब्जदास्यं मह्यं प्रदीयताम्। वंशी विभूषितकरान्नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलद्धरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। गोपालबालं भुवनैकपालं संसारमायाम् अतिमोहजालं यशो विशालं शिशुपालकालं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna everyone. This is the ninth session of the Gajendra Lila Katha. I really want to apologize first of all for the delayed start. We had some fluctuating internet connection issues, and I literally chanted Mangala Charana about 4 or 5 times, so it was good for me. Every time we would start off with the Mangala Charana, and then it would just come up with a message that there's some connectivity issue and we're not able to go live on Facebook and publish the broadcast. But fortunately, now we are online with everyone joining in all over the place for this continuing series of the life of Gajendra. So yesterday we discussed up to a certain point in our discussion, which was very specifically text 26, where Shukdev Goswami is comparing Gajendra's struggle to the struggle of a grihastha in this world. Gajendra's hard work and Gajendra's spirit of very loving care for his family is compared to that of a griha medhi in this world. So Gajendra is being very responsible because he is making sure that the path is very comfortable and the thirst and the perspiration and the heat for his family has to be reduced and the thirst has to be quenched. He's also very hardworking in the sense that he goes inside the water, he takes them to the pond, he goes inside the water. He is the one who is, first of all, drinking the water for himself and bathing to relieve himself of the perspiration and the heat. And at the same time, he is taking his trunk, and Shukdev Goswami very beautifully describes Shikara, which means like a bat shower, like a shower. He is in the form of stream of water droplets, showering it on his family. So he's responsible as a householder in this world who is taking care of his family. At the same time, he's very hardworking to make sure that he is doing all the hard work as his she elephants, and the kids and other male elephants are on the shore. They're on the banks. So he is the one who's in the pond, pulling in the water and showering it on everyone with so much affection. So here is an interesting point. The example of a householder is given in this world. In fact, Bhagavatam throughout talks about the household life in a very specific, interesting manner. Getting married and having children in this world is not at all wrong. That is not Maya. Because Prahlad Maharaj, to a great extent, speaks about it in the 7th canto. He speaks about how the desire to unite with the opposite sex is kandu divana manasi cha vishahita dhiraha, is like the itch between the two palms. Kandu yanena bahu dukkha dukkham. Prahlad Maharaj speaks about this in Canto 7, Chapter 9, Text 45. Yan maithunadi gruhamedi sukham hitucham. Prabhupada would quote this verse so many times, comparing sex life, comparing attraction to the opposite sex to be yan maithunadi gruham edi sukham tucham, ati tucham. Prahlad Maharaj at the age of 5 is telling Narasimhadev that the desire to enjoy the association of the opposite sex is actually disgusting. He says tucham is insignificant. Just like in Hindi, we say ye tuch hai, which means it's insignificant. Literally, when you have to spit at something, it's literally a thu. So it's like a thu cha. It's a spitting thought. Even Prabhupada would quote how Yamunacharya would yad avadi mama Krishna cheta padaravindayo navanavara sadhamni. This verse is very, very famous. That when Yamunacharya would get the thought of uniting with a lady, his lips would curl inward and he would spit at that thought. So this is the level of great souls. So Prahlad Maharaj speaks so much about griham andha kupam. Even when he speaks to his father, you find in Canto 7, Chapter 5, when he is giving advice to Hiranyakashipu. When Hiranyakashipu asks him that what is the best thing that you have learned, Prahlad Maharaj says, Tat sadhu manye asuravarya dehinam sada samudvikna dhiyam asadgrahan hitvatma pakam griham andha kupam vanam gato yat harimashrayeta. Oh Father, the essence of everything is please give up this griham andha kupam. Griham means household life, and andha kupam, it is compared to a dark well. So imagine if there is a deep, dark well with no water inside. So if someone falls in, they fall on their head and they die. And even if they're alive, there is no water there. And then there are snakes to bite. But however, on the top of the surface, if there is a covering made with fresh green grass, someone would think, oh, this is a very comfortable position to sit in. And they may go to sit on that grass, but then that will just make them fall down. So this is what griham andha kupam, the household life, is compared to. But it is an interesting point. Prahlad Maharaj speaks all this. But then he ends up getting married and enters grihastha life, and he has children and he takes over as the king, etc. So can Prahlad Maharaj be a faulty teacher where he's teaching something but practicing something else? No. Prahlad Maharaj is a Mahajan. Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Bali Vayyasakhi Vayam. Out of the 12 main authorities in Shastra, Prahlad is one among them. So how can he walk on a path that he is himself, or how can he speak about some path where he himself is not walking? That is not true. The actual understanding is Prahlad Maharaj has never spoken against grihastha life. He has spoken against household life where one is so attached to one's spouse and children and house and making money and all of the different comforts and opulence in the house that one ends up forgetting Krishna. If this is what is happening, then it is a soft bed of grass externally. But when you sit, then it's only bahu dukkha dukkham. There is only suffering. So our mood is not to create brahmacharis or to put down Grihastha life. There are very wonderful statements made by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who have made statements like, if a brahmachari criticizes a grihastha, thinking that, oh, I am celibate, but look at this person, he is fallen, and he is always associating with his wife and children, and he's working in the outside world, he is in Maya. If a brahmachari thinks like that and looks down upon other grihasthas, then it's only time which is separating. And very soon that brahmachari will become a grihastha if he criticizes. And on the other hand, if the grihastha thinks, look, I am so responsible in this world, I am making money, at the same time I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I'm taking so much responsibility, it's because of my money that the temple is getting funds, I am taking care of kids also, I am doing good materially also, I'm doing good spiritually also, I'm such an accomplished all-rounder devotee. But look at this brahmachari, he's running away from the reality of life, he's such a coward. It's very easy to sit in the temple and do Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. In this mode, if the grihastha looks down on the brahmachari, then the grihastha will fall down terribly and lose taste in his Krishna consciousness. There are so many examples which we have seen, and we can learn from the environment and the congregation and the different examples around, where if brahmachari is criticized, they end up becoming grihasthas. And on the other hand, if the grihasthas look down upon the brahmacharis, then they're not even seen in the association. They may be so enthusiastic at one point, but it's only time. Very soon, you see that they are no longer enthusiastic. That brahmachari, at least if he gets married, he is still serving, but the grihastha has lost all the taste, and he has left the institution. So it is our mood is not ashram consciousness. We are not putting brahmacharya life up and grihastha life down. In fact, all ashrams are glorious. Brahmachari life is glorious, aho bhagya, because he has tolerated the itch of his palm, the shackle of material existence in this world. The greatest attack of material nature is the association of the opposite sex. But the brahmacharis are so absorbed in tasting service to Sri Krishna that they are able to fight their mind and their senses and with purity go ahead. So the brahmachari life is glorious. Yet at the same time, the grihastha life is glorious because they are giving birth to Krishna conscious children who are going to take this movement ahead. They are living responsibly instead of being cheating practitioners of spiritual life, where externally we may act to be very renounced, but internally we are contemplating, or in a very illicit way, in a very hidden way, we are enjoying the pleasures of the senses. That is very abominable and sinful. At least the grihasthas are with white cloth, they are coming up with honesty. They are coming up with honesty and sincerity. The husband has one wife and the wife has one husband, and they have children in a very legitimate way. And then now they're responsibly working and practicing Krishna consciousness, which is very, very rare. In Kali Yuga, it is very easy to run on the chariot of the mind through the horses of the senses and enjoy, in a very illegal, illicit way, the enjoyment of this world. Illicit sex is present everywhere in this world. But how glorious are those who are living a life of sincerity and honesty, and with Krishna as the center, with integrity and principles of spiritual practice. They are following the four regulative principles. In their house, they are having deities. They are inviting the brahmacharis and the sannyasis and facilitating all of this. So they are working hard and making the money to facilitate everything. The grihasthas are taking care of the other ashrams, while the brahmacharis and the sannyasis are driving it with their Hari Katha and Hari Kirtan. So in this way, all ashrams are glorious. So Prahlad Maharaj or the Srimad Bhagavatam never puts down household life, but it puts down any circumstantial thought process where we get so enamored and enchanted by attractions in this world that Krishna becomes secondary. Anything that makes Krishna on the second priority, on the priority list, it gives Krishna the secondary position and something else the primary position. That is what is spoken against. So if someone externally is in saffron cloth, but internally is not keeping Krishna as priority, on the other hand, there is a grihastha who externally has white cloth, but has Krishna as priority, then the grihastha is more glorious. So in this way, the inner, it is not the color of the cloth externally, it is the color of one's consciousness. It is the Krishna consciousness movement. Dress can be changed very quickly like this, but to change the consciousness is a struggle. So we see the Bhagavatam throughout speaks about keeping away from the association of the opposite sex in a way that will make one forgetful of Krishna. You see in the third canto, the discussion between Kapila Muni and Mother Devahuti, the point of association with women has been mentioned. Now, for all the Matajis who are listening to this, please don't think that the scriptures or the Srimad Bhagavatam is anti-women. Primarily, it is spoken to the sages. Primarily, it's spoken to the male members. So therefore, naturally for them, the attractive point are the females. If the females are reading the Bhagavatam and hearing, they have to replace this with male. So it's not a male chauvinist scripture, or it's not a male chauvinist presentation. All of us are equally lovable for Krishna. It's just that some of us are in the dress of a male form and some of us are in the dress of a female form. And it is important to respect that difference in the form of our dealings and association. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Asat Sanga Tyag E Vaishnav Achar, Stri Sangi Eka Sadhu Krishna Abhakta Ar. Mahaprabhu is saying this point very beautifully in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that the nature of a Vaishnav is that he keeps away from bad association. And bad association comes in three ways. First is associating with the opposite sex freely, in a illegal, in a illicit way, which is not according to the rules or the fences of dharma. This is one. Or associating with a person who's very attached to the opposite sex. Stri Sangi. Either attachment to Stri or attachment to Stri Sangi, one who associates with the opposite sex. The Matajis can replace the Stri with Purusha. The second kind of bad association is Ek Asadhu, someone who is a devotee, practicing devotee, but he is not sincere. Externally, he's making a show of sincerity, but he is not sadhu, he is asadhu, he is duplicitous. So that is another association we have to avoid. And the third is Krishna Abhakta, which means someone who is not a devotee and doesn't want to be a devotee. We are not talking about those who are innocent and sincere and are open to the path of devotion. We are speaking about those who are inimical. Ishvare tad adhineshu balisheshu dvishatsu cha prema maitri kripopeksha ya karoti samadhyama. The 11th canto of Bhagavatam also says the same thing, that one should keep away from the association of those who are not interested to hear or associate or remember Sri Krishna. Krishna is the first focal point for us, and everything else comes in that context. Krishna is the first priority. So if someone doesn't like Krishna and doesn't want to talk about Krishna and doesn't want to associate and remember Krishna, then we have nothing to do with them. If there is someone who doesn't know about Krishna but is innocent, with time, if you speak to him in a favorable way, in a nice, conducive way, then they will take it up. Then we must associate. Balisheshu, Prema Maitri Kripa. Bhagavatam describes to those who are innocent, we should have some mercy. But for those who are making fun and very, very sure that they don't want anything to do with Krishna, then I'm sorry, we don't want to do anything with them. And very beautiful examples have been quoted, that when the spiritual master stops Bali Maharaj, Shukracharya stops Bali Maharaj from surrendering to Vaman Dev, Bali Maharaj is ready to reject his own guru. This is unheard of in the Shastra. Someone like Shukracharya. But Shukracharya said, don't give your wealth to him. He is Hari. He's not a Brahmana. And Bali Maharaj thought to himself that the duty of the living being is to surrender to Sri Krishna. And the duty of the guru is to help the disciple surrender to Krishna. But here the guru is thinking, if the disciple surrenders everything to Vamandev, oh, what dakshina will I get? So then he rejects his guru. We find other examples also. Dhruva Maharaj with his mother, Prahlad Maharaj with his father, Vibhishan with his brother, Bali Maharaj, of course, with his guru, gopis with their husband. So all the relations in this world are only so dharmic to the point that they are favorable, or at least non-controversially supporting towards our cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that we must keep away from three kinds of association because they will defocus us from getting the highest goal in life. First is associating with the opposite sex or those attached to the opposite sex, because they're constantly speaking about the opposite sex. Think about someone who is a cricket lover. He will always speak. Two people who love cricket, they will sit together and talk about cricket. Two people who love Bollywood, they will come together and speak about Bollywood. Similarly, two people who love lusty talks, they will speak about that. And just by hearing that, the desire will rise in the heart. Emotions are kindled in the heart through the sound vibration. If someone glorifies us, the heart becomes soothed. Someone criticizes us, the heart starts burning in anger. Similarly, when someone starts speaking about Sri Krishna, there is no attack of lust. We are all sitting peacefully. Similarly, when someone starts speaking some description which is a little sensual, the heart starts burning in lust. So therefore, to keep away from these emotions, we should keep away from such consciousness, such association. So association of the opposite sex or those attached to the opposite sex, and association of those who are not sincere on the path of bhakti, and association of those who don't want to know about Krishna. These are the three kinds. So it's interesting that the whole cross-section of the Bhagavatam repeatedly talks about the danger, the pitfall of associating with the opposite sex in the mood of enjoyment, forgetfulness of Krishna. So in the third canto, Kapila Muni talks to his mother about this principle in their conversation. In the fourth canto, we see time and again, even the pastime, the allegorical story of Puranjan has been explained by Narada Muni. In fifth canto, we see again the affection that Jada Bharat Maharaj had for the deer, which took him away from Krishna, because Krishna became secondary and the deer became primary. So Krishna brooks no competition, as the saying goes. So we see this principle in the fifth canto also. And also in the fifth canto, we see especially canto 5, chapter 5. This is one of the most eye-opening chapters of the Bhagavatam. Out of 335 chapters, if one who is sincere and wants to know the essence of life wants to read one chapter, that would be canto 5, chapter 5. It is one of the most hard-hitting chapters, just speaking blatant truth of life. So there also we see Pumsastriya Maithuni Bhavameta Tayo Mitho Hridaya Granthi Mahur Atha Griha Kshetra Suta Apta Vittaihi Janasya Mohoyam Aham Mameti, where Maharaj Rishabdev is speaking to his 100 sons headed by Bharat Maharaj, who's the first, and the Nava Yogendras, the next 9 Yogendras. And there Rishabdev Maharaj says, in this world also what happens is that a soul who's covered with a male form thinks he's a male, and a soul covered with a female form thinks that she's a female. And then when they interact, Pumsastriya Maithuni Bhavameta, if they're interacting with the mood of serving Krishna, then it is considered to be okay. Like, for example, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was once asked the mood of the relation between the husband and the wife. And Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj said that they should be like the two eyes on the face, very close to each other, but not busy looking at each other. Because if you're too busy looking at each other, the goal ahead is lost. So the eyes are always close to each other and always moving together. You see the eyes move together. It's very difficult to move two eyeballs separately. Probably impossible, but they're always moving together. So they are situated very close to each other, the left eye and the right eye, and they're always moving together. But if they keep looking at each other, the goal is lost. So this is the worshipable path of a grihastha life. But the griha medhi, on the other hand, Pumsastriya Maithuni Bhavameta, he has the bhav of just enjoying the other person's body. As a result, what happens? Tayo mitho hridaya granthi mahur. The hearts get intertwined, granthi. They're completely bound up in the mood of enjoyment. And as a result of which, atha griha kshetra sutta apta vittaihi, the net of attachment in this world goes thicker and thicker and thicker. Imagine someone who is tied to his waist and by a rope, and that rope is tied on the back end of a truck. And now the truck driver drives the truck, and this person who is bound by his waist, by a rope to his waist, the truck driver is driving, and this person is helplessly dragged. He is on his chest, he is on his belly, and he's literally in a bad position, rolling and flipping as the truck moves very fast through bumpy roads. And the person being dragged will probably criticize the driver. It's because of you that I am suffering. But the intelligent person will know, no, it's not because of him that you're suffering. You are suffering because your body is attached with the rope to the truck, and that truck is driven by him. So if you cut that rope, then you are not attached. So in this way, attachments in this world are the major cause of our suffering. You see, Ambarish Maharaj, he was the best example of even being opulent. He had everything in his life. Of course, this is a very slippery slope. We are not saying that we should aspire to be like Ambarish Maharaj, but we are saying the examples of those who could be amidst everything, but they were not attached to the things around. They could see Krishna's hand in everything. They saw their family members as servants of Krishna. They saw the house that they had as the gift of Krishna. They saw everything as Krishna. When the wealth was coming in, that is Krishna. When the wealth was going out, that is Krishna. So when you're seeing Krishna, then you're serving your family also thinking this person belongs to Krishna. Krishna has given this soul to me to take care of this soul, nourish their Krishna consciousness, and offer it back to Krishna's feet. If this is the mood, then that grihastha life is successful. But if that is not possible, then what happens? Invariably, what happens is we forget. Atha griha. Now the soul who's in the male abhiman, purusha abhiman, and then the female who's in the prakriti abhiman, they are coming together and they are enjoying. And then now to continue their spirit, they need a place to live. So they need a griha, atha griha. Now to live in that house, you have to pay the bills. Atha griha kshetra, suta, apta, vitta. To pay the bills, you need the money. To have the money, you need to work. And then when they are living in their house, naturally, kids will be born. And when kids are born, both side families are coming together. So that soul who was first misidentifying with the body, then starts misidentifying as the husband, then starts misidentifying that I am the father of this child. And then the network of relations increase. And all the material labels are put on the soul. But the true identity that I am the servant of Krishna, this is completely forgotten. So the person starts living to fulfill all these labels. But this is the cause of all suffering. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Krishna das ei vishwas korle to ara dukkha nahi. If someone has this unflinching faith that I am actually the servant of Krishna, I am not anybody's husband, I am not anybody's wife. I may be acting in a role of service to do that, but I am not like that. Naham vipro nacha narapatir napi vaisho na shudro naham varni nacha grihapatir na vanasto yatirva kintu prodhyan nikhila paramananda purnamritabder gopi bhattu padakamalayur dasa dasanudasa. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphatically made this point, that we may take different responsible positions, but we are none of this. We are not bound by ashram or varna or ashrama, but our eternal identity is that we belong to Krishna and Krishna belongs to us. Beyond this, there is no other second thought or opinion. So in the 5th canto, this is being explained. 6th canto, again, we see the pastime of Ajamila. Ajamila is also explaining the same point. The same story has been explained, that how by putting Krishna secondary and by putting material attachment and material enjoyment spirit primary, the spirit to enjoy the prostitute, Ajamil ended up losing everything in the 6th canto. And other examples are also given. We can see the example of Maharaj Chitraketu also, where he wanted a son, and then Harsha Shoka was born, the attachment increased, and so on and so forth. That is also explained in the 6th canto. In the 7th canto, we see Prahlad Maharaj speaking about the dangers of attachment in this world, especially to the family and the opposite sex, and forgetting Krishna. He speaks about this. Prahlad Maharaj speaks about this to Hiranyakashipu. He also speaks to his friends in Canto 7, Chapter 6. Prahlad Maharaj says, Kaumaram acharet prajno dharman bhagavataniha durlabham manusham tadapi arthadam adruvam. This deha is durlabham manusham deham. It's very, very rare Therefore, don't give your body, don't give your mind to anyone except Krishna. And even if you're moving through the tunnels of grihastha responsibilities, in your heart, one must be convinced that I belong to Sri Hari. So this has to be understood. Just like the gopis, they had their husband. They served their husband very nicely. But they knew that ultimately their husband is Shama Sundara. So in this way, husband and wife in this world and kids, when they come together, this focus must always be there. This is established. Tat prayaso na kartavyo yatha ayu vyaya param na tatha vindate kshemam mukunda charanam bhujam. Prahlad Maharaj tells his friends that don't take any wrong turn in this journey of life, that you end up forgetting Krishna and putting him in the secondary position of your priority list. Then we find again in the 8th canto, it starts off with the pastime of Gajendra. And herein we see Shukdev Goswami, he compares Gajendra to a Grihamedhi, and he says, look how responsibly he's trying, how hardworking he is, how affectionate he is. And he uses examples like Durmada. He uses examples like Kripana. And he says, this Gajendra was not even thinking and considering about Krishna. Shrota Vyadini Rajendra Nrinam Santi Sahasrashaha Apashyatam Atma Tattvam Griheshu Grihamedinam. The difference between a Grihastha and a Grihamedhi, both are having wives and both are having children and both are having home and responsibility. But Grihastha is he, Grihe Tishtati iti. He lives in the house, but he is always putting Krishna as priority. Weekends he's having programs. Morning he's chanting. He's always in Tilak and Kantimala. He is not a devotee when he comes to the temple and a materialist as soon as he leaves. That is not a Grihastha. Grihastha is always a devotee. He's always thinking about how I can serve Krishna in this situation. In this situation that Krishna has put in front of me, Krishna is playing this game of cards with the devotee. So he's throwing in a card. And the devotee has to see the card and give a response from his pack of cards. So the different cards that Krishna is putting are the circumstances. So the devotee is he who plays this game so responsibly, so that he ends up bringing in the smile to the face of Krishna, that Krishna, whatever circumstance you put in, I want to be the best Krishna conscious person. I want to behave the way a Vaishnav behaves in this circumstance. We should always think, in this situation, if our Gurudev was put in, how would he respond? Would he run away? Would he criticize? Would he get angry? And the answer says no. So then that is what we have to do. So the situations are not bad. The situations are not bad. They are scripted by Krishna. But going through those situations, it depends on the consciousness, the depth of the Krishna consciousness of the devotee. So it is very easy to give classes like I am doing. But I am practically seeing to sit here and just keep blabbering is very easy. But as soon as life suddenly catches, then the true mother tongue comes out. You see, a person who speaks multiple languages, no one is able to guess what his mother tongue is. But at night when you pinch him, he will scream and swear in his mother tongue. So when someone is caught unaware, that's when the true nature of the depth of the digested, realized experience, knowledge and realization, the taste of Krishna consciousness is tested. So Gajendra herein is going through the motions, but suddenly when he's caught by the crocodile in this pastime, we see he remembers Sri Krishna, because that is digested bhajan from past life. So we are getting there. So this thread is what we are talking about. Grihastha is he who through all circumstances remembers Krishna, and a Grihamedhi is he who, like a silkworm, he makes a cocoon and then ends up getting bound in his own cocoon. He complicates it so much that busy making the temporary planning and comfortable environment for his family, he's so busy protecting his body and his house and his relatives and his spouse and children that he has no time to do bhajan. So he's so busy fueling the vehicle that he has no time to feed roti and sabji to the driver of the car. He is so busy in polishing the cage that he has no time to feed the bird. What is the use of a polished car without the driver? What is the use of a polished cage with a dead bird? Similarly, what is the use of doing everything very nice in this world, but if we end up feeding our soul with bhajan, what is the use? What is the gain? Shariram surupam yathava kalatram yashaha charu chitram dhanam meru tulyam manasche nalagnam gurorangri padme tathakyam 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 tathakyam. Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya has in the Guruvashtakam said, if the mind is not attached to bhajan at the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, one could have shariram, one could have very beautiful body, surupam, very beautiful, yatava kalatram, even wife is very beautiful, and yashaha charu chitram, both of them are very famous, and dhanam meru tulyam, and they have wealth as humongous as the Meru mountain. But manasche na lagnam gurorangri padme, if the mind is not attached to bhajan, to Guru and Krishna, then what is the gain? What is the gain? What is the gain? What is the gain? One could be very knowledgeable. Shadangadi vedo mukhe shastra vidya kavitvadi gadhyam supadhyam karoti manasche na lagnam gurorangri padme tathakyam tathakyam tathakyam. One could be having Shadangadi Veda, Mukhe Shastra Vidya. From the tongue, there could be a river of Ganga flowing in the form of the 6 classical schools of Indian philosophy. One could be speaking Gautam Rishi's Nyaya or logic, or one could be speaking the imitator Kapila's atheistic Sankhya philosophy, or one could be speaking about Maharishi Kannad's Vedic atomic theory. Or one could be speaking about Jaimini Rishi's Purva Mimamsa or Karma Mimamsa philosophy. So in this way, one could be speaking even Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. One could be speaking all of these things, and the Vedas would be flowing off one's tongue. But if in the heart one is not prioritizing Sri Hari and Sri Krishna and doing bhajan as the only duty in one's life, then what is the gain? What have we understood? What have we understood? Shraddha Shraddhe Vishwasa Kohe Sudrida Nishchay Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Shraddha has been defined by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to be that unflinching faith that I am living and breathing for Krishna. And as service, I am here doing as a brahmachari or as a grihastha or as a vanaprastha or as a sannyasi. But my main focus in every situation is to constantly see Krishna. This is the purpose, to constantly serve Krishna. Without taking any breaks. So this is also, you see, this is in the 8th canto. 9th canto also we see the story of Yayati Maharaj. Again, attachment in this world and deprioritizing Sri Krishna's position. In the 10th canto, of course, Krishna's dealing with the gopis again and again. Shukdev Goswami and Srila Prabhupada and others have, of course, Prabhupada in the Krishna book, because Prabhupada has not commented to the Srimad Bhagavatam beyond the 13th or the 14th chapter. So they are also constantly saying that the attachment that Krishna and the gopis have mutually is not like the attachment and attraction in this world. Time and again, even in the teachings of Krishna with Uddhava in the 11th canto, this point of prioritization of bhajan has been made. So this is the common thread. And because Gajendra here is seen to be working so hard for his family in the forgetfulness of Krishna, Shukdev Goswami parallels Gajendra's position to the position of a mundane materialistic grihastha who has forgotten Krishna completely and is so busy going through the motions in the world that he has forgotten Krishna. So this is why in text 26, Shukdev Goswami says, Nachashta kricham kripano jamayaya. The word is na. In the 4th line of this 26th verse of Canto 8, Chapter 2, Shukdev Goswami says that unfortunately Gajendra na achashta, which means somehow na achashta. He somehow did not remember, he did not consider krichram, so much hard work that he was doing. So kripana, he was not thinking about Krishna. Durmada, he was so attached to his family. But why was this happening? Why was this happening? Shukdev Goswami says, Aja Mayaya. Aja is Krishna's name. Ja means Janma. Aja means he who is not born in this world. He appears. Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropisan prakritim swam adhishthaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Krishna is saying, even in the Bhagavad Gita, very, very beautifully, that I don't take birth, but I appear in this world. Aja, ajanma. Why does the Supreme Lord appear in this world? Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham dehamastitah bhajate tadrishi krida yashrutva tatparo bhave. The Supreme Lord appears in this world to perform such sweet pastimes. He manifests. He appears and disappears like the rising and setting of sun. He comes in this world to perform such beautiful pastimes, to attract, to pull the strings of affection in the heart of the conditioned soul. So Shukdev Goswami in Canto 8, Chapter 2, Text 26, he uses the word Aja Mayaya, influenced by the Maya, the illusory energy of Aja, that is Krishna, Aja, he who's Ajanma, who doesn't have a birth in this world. By that mood, Gajendra was completely caught up by the net of the Supreme Lord's energy. Diva charte haya rajan kutumba bharanenava. Bhagavatam describes that a conditioned soul in this world, during the daytime he's working for his family, and at night time he's either sleeping or enjoying illicit sensual or illicit sensual pleasures. So in this way, whether it is morning or at night, the person has forgotten Sri Hari. Balavasta krida sakta, tarunavasta tarunya sakta, vriddhavasta chinta sakta, para brahmani kopina sakta. Again, Adi Shankaracharya has described that while being children, we are so absorbed. Other version is balastavat krida sakta, like that. While being a child, we are absorbed playing with toys. And while being youth, we are attached to the opposite sex or the same sex in the present generation. And then when we get old, we are attracted and absorbed. The mind is completely absorbed in chinta. We are constantly thinking, like grandparents are constantly thinking, when will my grandson come home? Has he eaten his dabba? Oh, please change your uniform. You may be hungry. First, they are worrying about themselves, then their spouse, then their children, now the children of their children. So the net goes deeper and deeper. One is ready to do everything, but not do Hari Bhajan. So this is the primary point of discussion here. So Shukdev Goswami is drawing a wonderful parallel. So when we are reading this pastime of Gajendra, we should understand this is not some story of some crocodile and some elephant. This is actually our own life. Who is the Gajendra there? It is me. It is we ourselves. And the she-elephant and the children are our net of attachments in this world. So for those who are not married, it doesn't have to be a she-elephant. It could be your iPhone. It could be your attachment to social media. Anything that takes us away from Krishna, which is absorbing our attention so much. It could be WhatsApp. It could be Instagram. It could be Twitter. It could be anything. Good clothes, an iWatch, an iPad, desire to become popular and recognized, the desire to be an accomplished person. All of this. And the interesting thing is the mind always justifies that, oh, actually I'm doing this for Krishna. I'm using Yukta Vairagya principle. I'm employing everything in Krishna's service. But we have to really cross our heart and ask, am I doing this really for Krishna? Of course, everything in this world could be dovetailed, but is that my primary and only one-pointed intention? Is that why I'm actually doing it? Is it for him? When we cross our heart, we realize that actually it's mixed. We want it, but then we are feeling guilty to actually just possess it. So we want to sugarcoat it by saying I'm offering it to Krishna. So here Shukdev Goswami has made that comparison. Let's come to text 27 of the second chapter. So we will quickly read the English translation of 27 and 28 very quickly in the interest of time. Canto 8, Chapter 2, Text 27. Translation by Prabhupada. By the arrangement of providence, O King. So here the Sambodhan of He Rajan has been made. O King. The word Nrupa has been made. Tam tatra kaschin nrupadaiva chodito graho baliyams charane rushagrahi yadrikchayaivam vyasanam gato gajo yata balam toti balo vichakrame. By the arrangement of providence, O king, a strong crocodile was angry at the elephant and attacked the elephant's leg in the water. The elephant was certainly strong and he tried his best to get free from this danger sent by providence. Tathaturam yuth patim karenavo Vikrishyamanam tarasa baliyasa vichukrushur deen dhiyo pare gaja parshni grahastara yitum na chasakan. Na chashakan. Translation. Thereafter, seeing Gajendra in that grave condition, his wives felt very, very sorry, began to cry. The other elephants wanted to help Gajendra, but because of the crocodile's great strength, they could not rescue him by grasping him from behind. So here now the condition of Gajendra has been made. Gajendra is busy enjoying, and he has invited his wives also. Please come into the water. Don't worry. When I am here, I will protect you. There is nothing in this water that can challenge me. There is no fear. You're unnecessarily worrying about problems in life. Please enter. And the she elephants are at the banks. Even the male elephants are not going in, thinking that when Gajendra is inside, how could we go? He is the king, let him be. So the male elephants are outside, the female elephants are outside. Even the kids are a little restless to enter the water, some naughty ones, but some of them are hiding behind their mother. They are restless and they're very thirsty, they're very tired and they're perspiring. They want the water, but they're also afraid. So Gajendra is also looking around and saying, oh kids, please enter. Tomorrow you have to become Gajendra after me. So you cannot give excuses that you're afraid of the water. I can teach you to swim. Please come in. And I will teach you to swim, and you can bathe and you can relieve yourself not just of the heat of the body, but also the heat of fear from water. Please come in. So Gajendra is in a situation where he is not afraid of the water. And we were mentioning this point yesterday, that Srila Prabhupada says the greatest trouble, the greatest problem for a conditioned soul is not fearing material nature enough. When Prabhupada was actually having a walk on the beach of the ocean, the disciples looked at the water and told Prabhupada, isn't the ocean so beautiful and majestic? Prabhupada said, yes. Maya is also like this. Very beautiful from a distance. But when you go close, there is death. Like that. So when the devotee who's constantly afraid of committing Vaishnava Parad, or afraid of committing Nama Parad, Dhama Parad, or deprioritizing Krishna consciousness, he who is afraid is always on guard. That is the person who doesn't slip. But the person who thinks that I have got first initiation, I've got second initiation, I'm very senior, everyone bows down to me, they respect me, they always add His grace before my name, and all of these things. If one is feeling all of these things, that so much this has been given, I am now established, and I'm a senior devotee. That is when the crocodile actually attacks. So our Kulashekara Alvar in the Mukunda Mala Stotra has said, Trishna toye madana pavano dhuta mohormi male dara varte tanaya sahaja graha sangha kulecha samsarakhe mahati jalado majjatam nastri dhaman padam boje varada bhavato bhakti navam prayacha. Kulashekara Alvar is saying, actually, we all should think that we are drowning in the ocean of this world. Trishna toye. So someone would say, well, I am pretty much situated at home. Where am I drowning? So then to prove the danger of water, the Sindhu, the problem that we are all drowning in this material world, Samsara Sindhu. This material world has been compared to a Samsara Sindhu, an ocean. And the word Sindhu has been used. Bhava Sindhu, Bhava Sagara, then Bhavabdhi, Bhavabdhi Potam. This word has been used. Abdhi, Sindhu, Sagara means an ocean. So even in the Bhajahure Mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Durlabha Manava Janama Satsange Tarahu E Bhava Sindhure. Bhava Sindhu again. So constantly we hear this in the ocean of material existence. So someone will think this is too much of Atishaya Ukti. This is too much of exaggeration. It's not needed. We are not in an ocean. Even Bhagavatam says, Samsara Sindhum Atidustara Mutti Tirusho in the 12th canto that this material world is an ocean. So we may have this question, why is it an ocean? So Kulashekara Alwar has actually given a very satisfying analytical approach, proving to us that this material world is actually a water body. He says, Trishna Toye. This is an ocean because the water in this ocean is unlimited material desires. Trishna, the thirst for being happy, being very thirsty with temporary material objects. So Trishna Toye, the water of this world, in the ocean that we are describing is Trishna, is unlimited material desires. Trishna Toye Madana Pavana. And there is breeze over this ocean, and that breeze, constant blowing breeze, is Madana, lusty desires. Trishna Toye Madana Pavana Uddhuta Mohormi Male. And Moha Urmi Male. There are ripples and waves and tides. And what are they? Moha, our temporary planning. So we plan in this world. Our planning is like a wave. It keeps rushing and then in no time it crashes. Then as it crashes and we are disappointed, our plans fail, we make another plan. Temporary plans. So that's another wave. So Trishna Toye Madana Pavano Dhuta Mohormi Male. So the ocean of this material existence means water here is unlimited material desires. And the breeze of the wind blowing over the ocean is lusty desires. Uddhuta Moha Urmi Male. And the different ripples and tides on the ocean are temporary planning and having illusory conception. And Dara Varte Tanaya Sahaja Graha Sangha Kulecha. Now when you go underwater, on four sides you have, from one side you have a whale, on the other side you have a crocodile, then you have a shark, you have so many sea monsters. What are they? They are the different responsibilities that we do in this world, which make us forget that we belong to Krishna. So if our responsibilities make us forget that we belong to Krishna, then those responsibilities, those situations, those projects are actually sea monsters in the ocean of material existence. However, if those relations and those responsibilities are taking us closer to Krishna, then they are not sea monsters. Samsara akhe mahati jalado majhatam nastri dhaman. Kulashekara Alwar then says in the Mukundmala Stotra, O Lord, Shri Hari, Lord of the three universes, three Dhaman, I am actually drowning in this ocean of material existence, in the water of this situation. And the name of this ocean is Samsara, which means repeated birth and death. Samsara akhe mahati jalado majhatam. I am actually drowning, my Lord, in this great ocean, insurmountable. No one can go to the depths, the base of this ocean. No one can see the depth. No one can see the length and the width and the dimension. You know, if you get on an airplane and you're crossing, it takes such a long time to cross an ocean, but ultimately you cross. But if you have to cross that while swimming, then it is very, very difficult. It is impossible. The person will be finished. He will be tired. So my Lord, Padam Boje Varada Bhavato Bhakti Navam Prayacha. Please throw a boat close to me. I am calling out to you. And the boat is the merciful presence of your lotus feet. Please look at me, my Lord. Please help me with some devotee association. So the same point that Gajendra being in the water in this pastime represents a conditioned soul being in the water, the Bhavasindhu. So we should not think that this pastime is some very quick pastime. You finish it up, that Gajendra went into the water and the crocodile caught and finished. This crocodile represents problems. The crocodile could represent so many things. The crocodile could represent our health concerns. The crocodile could represent the fluctuations in our mental thought process, the agony and the agitation that we have. The crocodile could represent not just the emotional stress or the physical stress. It could represent some relationship stress or some financial economic stress. I was literally seeing this in one place when I was on the shore of the ocean. The place is called Gold Coast. So it is in Australia, and the place is called Gold Coast because early morning when the sun rises, the particles of sand on the shore they turn gold. They look like a lining of gold. So they call it the Gold Coast early in the morning. Also, the place very specific in that on that beach is called as the surfer's paradise. It's the place of heaven for those who love surfing. But Prabhupada would often say it's not the surfer's paradise, it's the sufferer's paradise. It is the place where we come to surf, but we end up suffering. So it was interesting that when I was there in Gold Coast, I was thinking, oh, everyone is happy, and it's the coast seems with a lining of gold early in the morning with the rays of the sun, and people are coming with their surfing boats, the boards early in the morning. But it was interesting that day there was an attack in that ocean. One man went into the ocean to enjoy and have a nice time, and then there was an attack, and the lifeguards were just jumping in. I don't know if they could get him alive. At that time, it hit me that this is the exact pastime we are talking about. This is Gajendra. The crocodile doesn't have to literally be a crocodile. It could be anything. Any problem that we are struggling with is a crocodile. You see a deer who comes to lick water at a pond. Is drinking water from the pond, and that's when from behind suddenly the tiger comes, who's hiding, comes and attacks. So similarly here, the crocodile who's hiding comes and attacks Gajendra, as Gajendra is completely unaware. So if someone tells us that there's going to be a fight, and you better be ready, Gajendra, the crocodile is going to fight with you, so Gajendra would be mentally prepared. But Gajendra was caught unaware, akasmat. Similarly, if we are told in life, let's say one relative of ours, he is having some health issue, and slowly his health is deteriorating over 6-8 months, and we know he's going to leave his body, we can take it. The spirit in which we can take is still better than someone who's healthy and suddenly he has a heart attack and he drops dead. Now it's impossible. We go through mental turmoil. We are not able to accept a sudden attack. So there the crocodile has bitten our leg in the form of emotional stress. So here we see Gajendra is entering water and he's attacked by the crocodile. So we must understand the different stressful situations in life are all represented by the crocodile. This is what the Acharyas comment here. They say that Gajendra's situation is the same crisis that every jiva feels in the ocean of this world. And when the crocodile attacks, those are all the unplanned attacks that this material world comes up with. It comes up with a sudden bite, and then we are unaware. It's like the jump of a tiger on our neck, and in no time we are finished. Even Prabodhananda Saraswati has said something very similar. In the Chaitanya Chandramrita, Prabodhananda Saraswati says, Samsara dukkha jaladau patitasya kama krodadi nakra makarai kavali kritasya durvasana nigaditasya nirashrayasya Chaitanya Chandramamadehi padavalamam. He says, Prabodhananda Saraswati says, oh my Lord, this material world is actually a water body, but it is samsara dukkha jalado. It is an ocean where the water is suffering. And patita, I have fallen there. And kama krodadi nakra makarai kavali kritasya. And my Lord, what do? I have fallen in this water of suffering in this material world. And the crocodile for Gajendra caught from outside. But for me, the crocodile which is biting me, the croc which is biting me is lust and anger constantly. Krodha, kama krodha adi nakra. Nakra means a crocodile. And makara means a shark. So kama krodadi nakra makarai kavali kritasya. That the shark and the crocodile of lust and anger are biting me from inside. My Lord, I am drowning in the water body of this material world. And now Krishna could tell Prabodhananda Saraswati, why don't you try to swim? Prabodhananda Saraswati says, because my hands and legs are tied, I'm not even able to flap my body. Then what are they tied with? Oh, durvasana nigaditasya nirashrayasya. My Lord, my hands and legs are tied with the iron shackles. What are the iron shackles? Past bad habits. Durvasana, bad samskars. I am not able to focus. At this point, when I am drowning, across the ocean shore, I see a rescue operator, I see a lifeguard, and his name is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Helplessly, I put my hand up and say, I'm drowning, I'm not able to swim, the sea monsters are biting me. Oh, lifeguard, Shachinandan Gaura Hari, putting my hand up, I surrender to you, please take care of me. So this is the mood that Gajendra is coming into on the attack of the crocodile. So now, just through sound vibration, we have said that the crocodile is about to bite Gajendra. But I am not going to let the crocodile bite Gajendra now, because again, tomorrow, we are going to discuss this. So again, I don't want Gajendra to be staying another one day in the grasp of the jaws of the crocodile. So through sound vibration, we have set the situation to see this is what is going to happen and the lessons that we can learn out of it. But tomorrow, again at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time, we will all join in to continue with our discussion, where we will actually see the crocodile biting Gajendra, Gajendra trying to fight the crocodile, and then when he's not able to, helplessly he takes shelter of Krishna. So tomorrow we will wrap up with this chapter, with Gajendra trying to fight the crocodile and trying to surrender to Krishna. And starting day after tomorrow, we will start the third chapter of the 8th canto, which is the historic prayers of Gajendra, the Gajendra Stuti. So tomorrow we will wrap up with the fight, and day after tomorrow we will start with the Gajendra Stuti. This Gajendra Stuti is one of the most powerful prayers in the Bhagavatam. In fact, the Banaras Hindu University was founded by Madan Mohan Malviya ji, and he was not just a social reformer and a fighter, but he was also a Sanskrit scholar who was posthumously given the Bharat Ratna in 2015, about 100 years, or I would say about 80 years after his departure, 70, 80 years after his departure. So he would say that if someone chants the Gajendra Stuti every single day, all kinds of crocodile bites, externally, emotionally, internally, even financially, even if someone has debts, they will be mysteriously solved by the Sudarshan Chakra of Krishna's mercy. So please stay tuned. The pastime is unfolding in an unimaginably magical way. So stay tuned. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow, same time, same place, all of us together, going through the motions on the banks of this pond in Trikuta Mountains of Krauncha Dweepa, seeing this historic fight and the lessons and principles as conditioned souls we all can learn. We will try to discuss on the basis of Srila Prabhupada's teachings. The Gajendra Stuti that we will begin, we will pour heavily from the commentaries of the Acharyas, and that will be a little longer discussion. We will try to spend more time on the verses. There are 28 verses, so that will be discussed. Because of the corona thing, we are having so much time and have this interaction. So when we look back, once this phase is over and we look back, when we think of corona, we should immediately think of Gajendra and the lessons from the Bhagavatam. So please stay tuned. Really thank all of you for kindly joining in and inspiring with your auspicious presence. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Gaur Hari Om.